Whom the Gods Fear, by Wdowski. 17. 2 weeks had passed, and reports back from Earth were that the battle fleet had already left the solar system. The new assault fleet under construction was at least 6 months away from being completed. Additional intelligence reports from Mahan informed them that the Chinese dry docks and shipyards were also busily at work expending their coastal fleet. They had already spit out 2 new ships in just the time they had been observing them. Their construction procedures easily outpaced Earth's. Glenn suspected it was the superior work ethic of the Greens. In droves, many back on Earth were signing up to join the great adventure. It was clear to Glenn most on Earth truly did not grasp the horrific onslaught both sides were going to suffer if their fleets did slug it out. The coming war started to trouble Glenn greatly. Anne turned her attention from her study station to Glenn, who entered the biology lab. Yes, Glenn. It was late, and Anne was alone in the lab. He walked in and sat beside her. They are not going to stop this war. Who, Glenn? Who isn't going to stop the war? I address my concerns with those I know in high levels of the EGG. I have explained to them that this whole conflict is a mistake. The Chinese do not have Demi and his crew, and the destruction of the venture was the action of one rogue fighter pilot. This coming war can be and should be prevented. Do not get me wrong, I am not a pacifist. I had the Marco Polo armed for a reason. The destruction of the venture was a tragedy, but it will not justify the millions of deaths that will come on both sides. He stopped talking for a moment as he gathered his thoughts to express clearly his feelings to Anne. Call it egotistical on my part, but I do feel responsible for this whole mess. I alone am responsible to stop this from all happening. Anne's face turned unsympathetic. As usual, you are thinking too highly of yourself. Of what I have learned about the Chinese. They are a racist society, extremely arrogant, and care so much about their face they rather knowingly be incorrectly perceived as being right, as opposed to admitting they are wrong and being correct. Their rigid culture of putting everyone in set boxes, which they know do not always fit. So their greatest fear is that their lies will be exposed. It has made them a hypersensitive and easily offended people. We humans on the other side have gotten extremely soft, filled with a sense of entitlement because of our advances in technology and our slave race of robots that do all our bidding. Since we have been able to touch the stars with our ships, I fear it has filled us up with high levels of hubris. Glenn, with or without you, this conflict was bound to happen sooner or later. I know before I told you that the crew of this ship needs your leadership. It does. But do you truly believe that you, a single man, are solely responsible for the state of affairs between our 2 worlds? Yes, he responded without hesitation. But hear me out before you respond. I know the Chinese are not responsible for Demi's disappearance. There is too much evidence now that they are not involved, besides the communiques we have intercepted. Their actions alone show they still do not have an understanding of the capabilities of our technology. If they did, those 3 Chinese warships would have searched this ring days ago. Instead, once they found the abandoned and gutted surveillance station, they spent all this time combing over the barren site. Only a few days ago you tried to convince me how it is my responsibility to take command, that I'm the only man that could see this mission through. As I just said before, saving the lives of the people on this ship and saving 2 worlds are 2 completely different things. You need to keep things in perspective, Glenn. I do believe you have it in you to achieve much, but you still have limitations. As you have stated before yourself, you are not a god, you are only a man. You can sway many to your way of thinking, but you do not have the power to make everyone see what you see. Forget about getting those who think they already have all the answers to agree with you. I am not sure that the Chinese, once they set their way of thinking one way, can be swayed to change their position. As for the politicians in the EGG, I am confident many of them are the same. I fear too many on both sides seem to want this coming war, and they will not listen to anything that contradicts that desire for war, no matter how true it is. Their conversation was abruptly interrupted by a call on Glenn's personal 4-arm-com. I am sorry. I am wanted on the bridge. He stood and gave a light kiss on her forehead. Thank you again, and he left for the bridge. She shouted at him as he left, You are not going to listen to me, are you? I know you. You will, as always, put the weight of the world upon yourself. 3 sleek, stealthily Earth Scout frigates popped out of hyperspace only 100 kilometers above the Polo's position in Xing 7's ring. They were running silent, not wanting to perk Xingni's ears. Their black and gray camouflaged hulls were lightly armored in favor of speed at sublight and to prevent them from creating any type of sensor blip. They at first hung above the Polo as if lions sizing up their prey to determine the ideal angle for an assured quick and easy kill. Glenn was confused by the tense and alert state of the bridge crew as he entered the Polo's command center. He had first thought the Xingni ships on the other side of Xing 7 had finally discovered them, and they would soon be under attack. "The Xingnis?" he questioned Captain Rubel. "No, we have received a communique on a narrow laser transmission." "From whom?" "They claim to be the scout frigates EIS New York, EIS Alexandria, and the EIS Rio de Janeiro." Rubel replied, "We have not been able to find them, though. They do not appear on any of our passive sensors. No infrared signatures, nor ultraviolet, or radioactive. It is as if we are receiving the signal from a ghost ship." "I do not think you will find them even if you use active sensors," stated Commander Granite. "Have you triangulated the source of the laser communication?" asked Glenn. "Yes," replied Rubel. "We are in the midst of setting up our own narrow laser communications beam to respond to their transmission. Their first signal was in Morse code as pulses of laser light hitting our sensors. Magnify the area space the signal originated from with a visual light camera. I think we will find your ghost ships," recommended Glenn. Following Glenn's order, the area of space was placed on the main bridge screen. At only double magnification, 3 vessels could clearly be seen. Their painted camouflage hulls made it difficult to make out their ship configurations. "Those are the new fast scout frigates," said Commander Granite. "Their weapon systems are not much different than the Polos, but they are packed with sensors, double our armor plating, and faster sublight engines." As Glenn looked at the Earth's warships, the seriousness of their situation sunk even deeper in him. He ordered Rubel to send a message back to the scout frigates requesting a personal meeting on board the Polo. Rubel had his crew use one of the CL turrets at its lowest possible warm setting to send out a Morse code to reply to the Earth warships.